Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. My name is Mitch Ethan, and as always, I'm joined by Ethan Daffy, and we are reviewing Carlton v Gold Coast. Daffy's waving the flag almost now, the scarf, of course. It might be the flag towards the other year, Daffy boy, but we are reviewing Carlton v Gold Coast, of course. Carlton won today, 59-point win. So, of course, Carlton finished with 18 goals, 12, 120. Fantastic to go beyond 100 points, but also to get an extra 20 was great to see. And, of course, Gold Coast, 8 goals, 13. 61, as I said, 59-point win. It was just a great day at the football. It was great weather. Wasn't too cold, wasn't too hot. Fantastic to be at the MCG. I know that there was only 29,000 at the G today, but it shows that if you're not a loyal supporter and you miss out of a great game like that, it will cost you for the rest of the season, and it will cost you for the rest of your life. Because that was a great day of the footy. I know it was against Gold Coast, but who cares? But first things first, more important, Daffy boy, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Like you said, 29,000. It was louder than 29,000 in my opinion. That first quarter, how quiet was it the first quarter? Oh my God. You could hear, I could have talked to you. I could have talked to you across the ground.
It was that
quiet.
What, literally?
I yelled once and there was echoed. It echoed. I was like, what the fuck?
Unbelievable.
But when we lifted, obviously it started to get going. But no, it was great. Like you said, the weather was perfect. It was a perfect Melbourne winter day, in my opinion. Not too hot, not too cold. You always do I wear the jacket? Do I not wear the jacket today? You got to be safe. I was on the safe side this time, but no, I went with my older brother. He's a big blue bagger as well, so it was a good day. Getting up and about for the boys, and it was a convincing win. It wasn't a 4-quarter effort, but it was a 3-quarter effort, and one of the quarters was the best quarter of the year, in my opinion. Because that second quarter, Jesus, got 9 goals. You don't see that very often, even from good teams. So, convincing win over a side who's been in good form. That's what I look at it. I don't think they're a super side, but I think, geez, you look at their lineup and really they should be top 8 with that list. Good midfield, but it showed our midfield were just a class above, in my opinion. Guys like Rowell and that have been playing well, but Cripps and that were probably thinking, you're a young fella. I've got to, show you the ropes a little bit and, get into you a bit. And straight out at the start of the game, Cripps going straight to Rowell, getting into him. Yeah. We played smart footy, and I was proud of the boys today. And they deserve a bye, whether they go away or whatever. They need that mental reset, because it's going to be a massive second half of the season. Because I'm not riding us off yet, Pato. Okay, the lid's definitely on by both of us, 100%. But you've still got to. There's no dead game. People are like, oh, the season's over, blah blah blah. Yeah, no. It's round. It should never talk about the end of the season. Obviously, if it's round 23 and you're fucking third last, righto. It's round 14, and then still not just like mathematically you have to win 10 games by 100 points. This is doable, Pato.
Spot on.
It's frustrating where we are. It's been a shit season. We have to say that. But why can't we turn around? We've seen teams in the past do this, and they run into the finals and have this momentum and hit the finals at the right time. So we did the other way around last year, where we started well, and then we the cracks started to appear. And I don't know. We'll see what happens, Pato.
Yeah, I think right now we pretty much have to keep the lid on it, just because it is one win. It's a great performance. There was definitely a difference with the game style, the game plan, but we just need to keep a lid on it right now, which I know that we definitely will be. But so I know at the game I was kind of seeing it as, I don't want to get sucked into it again, because that means that the next Hawthorn we might play shit again, and then that's when we are in complete and utter shit. But I mean, as you said, we're keeping a lid on it, but don't mind me. I'm just going to back open a Canadian Club Premium Dry. So,
drink responsibly, kids.
Drink responsibly, of course. But I think we just have to keep a little bit of a lid on it. But I think we might just crack open the CC, because we need to enjoy it. That's the thing. Like we have just been completely shit this year. The expectations have been completely thrown out in the rubbish, and I think we just have to try and enjoy it. Enjoy it, Blue Baggers. Don't get sucked into it. I know I'm not. I'm just enjoying the day who knows? But also we know that brand of football, that is good enough to beat most teams, if not all. So that brand of football, attacking, brutal, ruthless, just stuff like that where it's very much Michael Voss-like. And if you do that every single week, day in, day out, I said it after the review of the Geelong game, if you show intensity, if you show that intensity, even against Geelong as well, that intensity was great and it was there.
Good.
You show that every single week, you will win most of your games. And now it's just down to skill. And the skill hasn't been great, but the intensity hasn't been great. The tackling today is something that I've never seen before. And I reckon that is a big thing down to the selection call that we'll touch on. So, of course, initial thoughts, Daffy Boy, I've written a few things down there, but you can start, mate. Initial thoughts. What do you think?
I think we were saying it before. I did not see really too. There's obviously some negatives. I think the first quarter and a bad start again with the 1 goal quarter. We've just got to eliminate that because starting games is so crucial. And I think it was not lucky. Defensively, we were good in the first quarter, I felt.
Yeah.
We just couldn't get anything on the board, which has been the story of the season. But what I'm happy about is they kept at the process. They didn't change their plan. They went into the game knowing how they were going to win the game. And we win games around stoppage. And we've been kind of shying away from that this season, in my opinion. I think, last year we were brutal at the contest. And you just look at that second quarter, and that's based off centre clearance work. I've not seen that many clearances this year. Like, how about when you see Walshy running through the middle of the fucking G? How much better is it for the forwards because they've got one-on-ones?
Yeah.
They've got one-on-ones, 6-6 finally. It's like, get it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was really happy with the midfielders. As you say, with the first point, Walshy, fantastic today. I did check we always look at the meters gained with him. And I think it was 500 meters, which is really, really good. That's good. I think Doc led that with 550 or something like that. He's usually around there throughout his career. So Weeders, I think the last month, I reckon since the Sydney game, he's been really good. And he's really set the tone for our defence, like I've been saying. When he was playing negatively, what happened to the defence with ball in hand? They played negatively. But today, he simplified things. You look at Brody Kemp, man. This guy's playing under 30 games and his ball use is superb out of the back line. Where has he been? Where has he been? It's too... That's the issue I'm having with these guys where was Fogarty 4 weeks ago?
Oh, my God.
And Motlop wasn't playing well enough. It's just... That's what pisses me off about today, which is annoying. It's like a negative, but it's a positive as well because we've finally turned it around. And Big Harry, good today again. He was kicking those goals that we like. He picks it up off the ground, dribbles through because he's not a regular forward. And you look at the goal that we put on for the Throwback Thursday stuff. Not many key forwards are kicking goals like that.
No.
And I just like the way he went about. I think all our forwards work well together. They didn't. No one really kicked a 5 or 6, but it was. Our midfield was getting in on goals and stuff like that, which was superb. And like you said, with the final point, Voss was tested at quarter time. And if I hear one more person, if we lose next week or whenever we lose next, talk about the fucking coach. Again, if they talk about the coach, he set him up this week again to win. And what happened, Pato? We won the game. We converted. What did we score? 18-12. Last week, we kicked 6-16. How much difference does it make? When we 7 goals, 1 or something today, or 2, 9 goals, something. It's game over. It's against the Bombers, we would have been 5 goals up, game over. Their heads would have gone down. They might have had a little bit of a run, but they wouldn't have caught up realistically. And with the Suns, they were trying to get back in that third quarter, but it's just not enough.
No,
it's just not enough. And respect to Bossy because I know he'd be going through it for the last few weeks and the other coaches and especially the players, they deserve it.
Yeah, well said. I think it's down to the players and the coaches just uniting and as we posted after the game, just united and together. The togetherness of the club is so important. And after when Carlton posted on their social media platforms about them smiling after the game, it shows how united they are as well. Seeing Kemp have a smile on his face, Walshy as well, Weeders, so many players around, and it's just fantastic to actually see the happiness that we're experiencing as well, and know that they're also experiencing it so much more. But of course, I mean, as you just said, I think you just mentioned all the initial thoughts and something before we need to touch on the I guess our next point is just David Cunningham. How good it was.
Oh,
How good is it to see his return? And I think Cunners and Fogarty, those two are
yes.
massive. Massive. And just Fogarty with his football IQ. We were crying out for it.
Oh,
And he's just IQ. Like, he hasn't been brought up to be a dumb footballer. He's been brought up to be very much the football IQ sense of just
role player.
Yeah,
Role player.
Role player.
He doesn't need to be a superstar. He doesn't need to be.
No. And he was the role player today where the people who aren't really into football as much would probably look at his game like, oh, he didn't play too well. But
no, we know what he did.
You kind of know that how important he is to this role. And to the system. It's to the system.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's he might not play as well. And we saw it with Geelong when he was playing at Geelong. He wasn't playing as well, and he probably didn't suit their system. But when we brought him in, he suited our system. And that's why he is. I just hope that he can play the rest of the year. And I reckon even when he got dropped a couple of years, I think it was 2021 when his last game was. Even then, I was like, God, that's quite stiff. And we never saw him again until today, which is just unbelievable. And just David Cunningham, and even when he did that dubstep, that's class.
You see the one where he picked it up one hand, one motion handball?
Yeah, class.
He was on half back right in front of me. Like he had 11 touches, right? But I reckon all of them are effective.
Spot on.
He is I've been saying it. We need these pace and bursts out of the midfield. Just little 5-minute patching, go in there around the stoppage. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, but before he got injured, he had a really good patch of footy in 2021 at the start of the year, I remember.
Yeah.
Where he was having like 25s and 26s. But it's not about numbers with him. His impact is enormous.
Yeah. Completely spot on. Okay, so we move on to the next segment. This is a bit of I think this is the alcohol getting to my system, Daffy boy, but it was already written down on the sheet before. But we just need to give a little bit of a perspective about the position that we're in right now. So right now we are 14th on the ladder. We just moved up one spot. We were 15th, but we are a few games ahead of the bottom half of the bottom four. So the bottom three, we are a few games ahead of them. So we've got a bit of breathing space. Okay. Yeah. And right now we are 14th on the ladder, currently 5-8 with the draw that might be vital. Richmond round one. So right now we are one game behind 9th to 13th. Yeah. So they're all on the same points, but it doesn't matter because if we go on the same points, we go above them because of the draw. Doesn't matter about percentage. We go above them because of the draw. We are 2 games behind 8th, and that's Adelaide. So, of course, next week, we go into the bye when most of those teams, if not all those teams in that bracket,
need them to lose
next week. But there will be a few teams that will go that will win and some will lose. So whether they all win, I'm not too sure. But let's hope a few of them lose because then we could go into Hawthorn, and for the rest of the season, if we finish 7-2, which is very doable. And then there's 9 games after the bye. So 7-2. That means if we get 7-2, we finish with 12 wins. And that might be enough. If not, it will be enough because we have the draw. We have the 2 points. Now, Daff, it's unlikely, but is everyone telling me that there is still a chance? What are your thoughts?
I'm keeping a lid on it. We need to go week by week, like we've been saying. So if there's other supporters watching this video, we're not getting ahead of ourselves because he won one game out of 58. But realistically, like I said, there is no dead rubbers. It is round 14. We're not playing. We don't have a shit side. Yeah. Seriously, we don't. Like, what's the point of going? Next year. Next year. Like I said last week, people are already writing us off, and we've got 10 weeks ago, and people going, next year, another year wasted. Look at 10 weeks. Look at Port Adelaide. Tell me who told me they were top 2 after round 3. They were 0-3, lost the showdown round 3. Yeah. They were 0-3, lost by 70 to Collingwood, then lost to Adelaide, went 0-3 and got on a 10-win. Oh, what are they on? 11 now. Yep. 11 win streak, and now we're talking about premiership for Port Adelaide. So realistically, it's week by week because I cannot trust them currently. No. But if they can perform like that for a fucking 2-month period, that's all I ask because we will get there. We will get there. Yeah. And like I said, these teams you see when they have a late run at the finals, whether it's a Richmond or, those teams that they peak with like 5 or 6 weeks before the finals. They get their spot, they get a good spot. They might get a home final. I don't know. It doesn't really, we don't give a fuck. We just need to make it.
Yeah.
But they might get in, they get a good matchup, right? We could play, I don't know, who's fifth right now. I'll look at the ladder right now. And realistically, the top 4 is locked.
Yeah.
The top 4 is locked. It'd be Port, Collingwood, Melbourne, Brisbane. Look at the bottom of the 8. Saints, Essendon, Bulldogs, Crows.
Yeah.
You look at it and you go, and then who comes in? Like Geelong look off. Richmond could get in there, but this, I don't know. They're probably not as consistent as they like, but they look better currently.
Other than that,
the Giants to make it, probably not. Probably not.
No.
Realistically, unless they continue their form, I'm not going to underrate them. I'm not here to judge other teams. Freo look off, but who knows with them? But really, we win at Hawthorn. We go probably above the Suns and Freo. Pato, we could verse either the Saints, Essendon, Bulldogs, Crows in a final. I'm backing us in any day of the week. Yeah. We're here talking about elimination final here. We've beat Gold Coast.
I know.
But seriously, if we're not thinking about this stuff, what's the point of being a supporter?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly right.
What is the point, Pato?
Yeah.
We would not be doing this show if we didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. So, and then that's a whole reason for this point is because, like, of course, we are never going to get ahead of ourselves. I think we do as supporters, but I think we need to actually put it in enough perspective where we are in the position we are in right now. We are 14th on the ladder. It's not a great position. You look at the position and you're like, shit, well, that's pretty bad. But that is not the same of football that we've played the past 10 weeks. That's the difference. So we are not saying anywhere near that this is a lock for finals. It is so far from it. It needs to be consistent football. It needs to be pretty much the opposite of last year where the first half was really good and the second half was really shit. It needs to be the first half was really shit this year, but the second half, you make the most of your opportunity. They know that brand of football lives up to expectations and it gets the crowd involved. As we spoke about earlier, like the first quarter, I could hear the players on the ground direct. I have never, ever been able to hear the players direct on the ground. That's something. Second quarter, I could not hear like 2 rows forward because it's just the energy.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's the players that when you play well, and that's why they probably had a little bit of fire in their belly when they saw not a big crowd. And like, yes, the first quarter wasn't great, but credit to Michael Voss once again, because he changed something up. Like he didn't go with the same shit. He probably looked at it as, we are taking this fucking game on. We are not taking this shit anymore. The supporters aren't taking it anymore. Have a look around at the MCG. I wouldn't be surprised if he said that, saying, have a look around the MCG. 2 months ago, this was packed out. Now it's completely empty because you guys are not performing. Change that today. Change that this quarter, second quarter. You change it. You have we said it last week. They have the opportunity to go out there and do their role, and they can change the outcome. Today, it looked like the outcome was going to be another 24, 25-point loss to Gold Coast in an absolute shocking game at the MCG, but it was different today. Second quarter, they responded. 9-goal quarter. Yeah. I reckon the only game that probably comes to mind is probably a West Coast. Other than that, really haven't seen that much this year. Last year, it was a certainty almost. We pretty much saw it happen always, and we expected it. This year, we're pretty much we were 65 points at halftime. Yes. 65 points. We haven't kicked 50 points in a fucking game. Like, shit. Like, it's good that I went today with a mutual supporter because it's a good mate of mine, and I went there with a mutual supporter, and there was a bit of a Carlton supporter today. And I actually said to him, I'm like, we have not scored 50 points in a full game, and in a quarter, we have already kicked what we can kick in a full game the past 10 weeks. It just shows. It's actually unbelievable to actually think about how, and that's why it's frustrating. But it is. You can have the frustration now, but if we're into round 24 and we're playing against GWS to have a spot in the finals, that's when it will be It's so hard to keep a lid on it. It's so hard. But as you said beautifully, I think it's just we wouldn't be doing this podcast if we didn't give the supporters hope. Like,
Yes.
we are buddy supporters where we just want to see these guys do well, and we always hope the best for them. So, before we move on to a very unbelievable performance from our captain, so we just need to very quickly touch on the selection, which was of course seen, and it should have probably happened after the Adelaide game, when if these players weren't performing, change something up that next week. If they are not performing and doing their role, you need to take them out. Don't give them another chance in the seniors. Give them a chance in the VFL to bring themselves back into the side. That's how I see it. So I'm going to touch on a few questions. So we will just go through the three, I guess, kind of roles that have been changed in the game. So first things first, Brody Kemp going into that Lewis Young role. Obviously, he's a little bit smaller, but it looked a lot more agile and it looked a lot more exciting because we had a Jordan Boyd or a Chin Cotter, who usually is quite tall, but he's playing as that rebounding halfback, which was fantastic. And also a Mitch McGovern, who didn't play great today, but credit to him also because he also played a little bit. He took some important marks. So Brody Kemp in that Lewis Young role, Daffy Boy, what do you think of that? I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Where has he been?
Where has he been?
Brother was saying, we're laughing a lot. Where's he been? It's because I think there was he had an injury obviously the first year. I think he had an ACL when we drafted him. I think he got hurt in the TAC Cup or whatever, and he came in injured. But obviously we knew I think he was rated top 10 and had the injury, so he went to 17, pick 17 where we got him, which is pretty good from us. But he's obviously had some setbacks. But I think there was a time where we didn't know what his position was. He was playing forward. I remember practice matches, he was playing forward. I'm like, he's not getting in as a forward.
No.
He wasn't getting forward with Harry and Charlie down there. And he was superb today. He's about to re-sign, which is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, because there'd be definitely clubs calling the way he's playing. But yeah, no, he was fantastic in that Lewis Young role. He was on Levi Casbolt, and he was definitely not undersized. He's not tiny, but I feel he's a bit like that kind of Ballard size in terms of they are a tall defender. Their ability and their, he's got that kind of aerial ability to read the ball extremely well. Kind of like the Jake Lever type in terms of they're not massively tall. They're tall, but they're not, Lewis Young height. But and then his ball use is 10 times better than Young is. Let's be real. Be real, like 50, and that helps us on the rebound because that's how AFL is right now. That's how you score goals, from the rebound, and it starts with him. I thought the back six was superb today. I thought Wiedering was superb, and how many marks were we taking down there? Jesus,
Unbelievable!
Not intercept mark up intercept mark, and no, I'm happy with Kempy, and he'll be a lock forever now, I think.
Yeah, and Wieder sets that standard down back also. So when he's marking. You've seen that and this is why he's the most valuable player out there, because of course he's the vice captain, but also when he's marking, it gets the defenders around him, and you've seen like the evolution of Brody Kemp in the past few weeks.
Yes.
Jacob Wiedering's been playing well also the past few weeks, so that's probably a big factor to that, and also Lewis Young. Just I think the way that he's coached to kind of defend is very much defensive base only, but say Brody Kemp is, you need to do this as a defender. Of course, you need to try and keep your man goalless, but also when you have the ball, use your attributes where if you see a target down the middle, you go for it. And that's the question with Brody Kemp. So before we move on to the next selection call that that Vossi made with Brody Kemp. So of course he's going to re-sign very soon, hopefully.
Yep.
What does that mean, in your opinion, for Mitch McGovern for next year? Brody Kemp is a hell of a lot cheaper. He has a hell of a lot more of his career ahead of him. They're pretty much playing identical roles. Kemp's probably playing a little bit better right now because of confidence and, I guess, expectation. With Kemp and McGovern, I think you kind of expect more from McGovern than Kemp. But they're both playing pretty much identical roles. What do you think you would do if it came down to it where Mitch McGovern wants to leave, would you let him go more than happily because Brody Kemp is doing what he's doing right now?
He's gone.
Yeah.
He won't be a Carlton next year, Pato.
Yeah.
Write him off.
Yeah.
He's a liability down there. He makes some mistakes that really just. I try to be nice about Mitch. I like Mitch. He seems like a great bloke. Nothing against him personally at all. We never ever attack players personally. No. We always talk about on field, whatever happens on field. But yeah, he's gone, I think. And with Marchie coming, I think Marchie comes in for Gov next week.
Wow. Yep.
He plays that role perfectly as well. And
yep.
I think he's better. I've been trying to be nice. We've all tried to be nice with Mitch. And I need to stop being nice because it comes a time where we've got to start winning fucking games, Pato. We're at a time where these guys are at the peak of their powers and we've got to get going. There's no time to waste. So he's gone.
Yeah, spot on. I know that, like, even the past few weeks, even with me, I think when we do our potential inclusions, I've had Mitch McGovern out almost every week. No, but that's just generally just because he is not up to the expectation. And I like to see intent for the football, look like you care, look like you're playing for the jumper. When Mitch McGovern goes down or if he makes a shit error, he makes it all about him. And we don't want to absolutely rub it into Mitch McGovern because we want to look as today as just positives only. But I think next week we need to also make a statement from that sense where Marchie or someone from the VFL who's been performing well has to come in. And I reckon that is almost a definite. So I completely agree with Marchbank. But the last one, so there's two more. So we'll quickly touch on the inclusion, I guess. I know that we touched on it a little bit earlier, but the inclusion of Fogg and Cunners. So how great they were together. What does this mean for a Durden that pretty much, when he comes back in, he's injured right now, but when he comes back in, to me, he's almost a lock to come back in. But also for a Jesse Motlop, he needs to pretty much earn his right and earn his stripes to get back into this best 22. With these two playing the way that they did and hopefully can keep their body right for the next few weeks and hopefully for the next of the season, what does this mean for these two and hopefully to our forward structure?
I'll start off with David Cunningham. He's in our top 6-7 players in our team, impact-wise. He's a perfect impact player that you need in your team. He's a lock every week. You can put him in every week. He's huge for us. And his first came back after, a year and a half. Like, he looks like he hasn't missed a beat. So, and with Fogg, my brother messaged me probably 10 minutes before the show, and he was telling me all this stuff going, who's going to be fighting for spots, da-da-da-da. Corey Durden is far from a lock, in my opinion.
Really?
Absolutely far. Who is he playing over? Who's he going to play over? Jack Martin. Jack Martin had 7 touches, all score involvements.
Or maybe... Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I think...
Durden's form, was it that good before he got injured? Probably not.
Yeah.
His output, you got Owies, Jack Martin, you got Fogg up there. Jack Silvani's not get back in the side.
No.
He will not be playing for Carlton next year. I'll be telling you right now, Pato. It's sad to say because it's a historic name of the club, right? And I don't want it to end that way, but Jesus, man. Like, is he really getting in that team? No. Teddy K kicked 2 goals today.
Yeah.
That's what he wasn't fucking Saucer kicked all year, I reckon. No, seriously. It's just... No, with Fogg and Cunners, I think in a way they're different players, but they are similar in a sense in terms of silkiness. And like we said with Fogg, he's a role player. And you look at good sides, Collingwood, how many role players they have in their side, McCreary's and players like that. They're not superstars, but they get the job done when the whips are cracking. So, no, happy with Fogg and Cunners' performance. It's just great to see Cunners back playing footy because he's severely underrated. He missed that much footy, people forgot about him.
Yeah,
and he's actually a really good footballer. And what is he? He was drafted the same year as Harry and Charlie, so he's probably only 25. So got plenty of games of footy ahead of him. And I hope that was Fogg's first game of the year.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Wow. So that was his first game by memory. I think the one game that comes to mind is round 2, 2022 against the
Dogs.
Yeah. That's the first game that I'm quite certain that was the first game. I don't know for sure, but I'm quite certain that is the first game that he's played since then.
Oh, So make sure we get around him too, because that's tough going. You know, when you people forget these guys are training every day with those blokes who play in the ones.
Yeah.
Every day you're expected to play at that high level, and then you go, fuck, you're playing twos again. So, and especially the way we've been playing, you're probably thinking, geez, can I be a look-in at some stage? And it's good. Rewarded him because people go, oh, but he's not dominating the twos. But you've got to change something up sometimes. Because sometimes guys, they play twos and ones at the same level. You know what I mean? Like you said, he doesn't produce numbers. He's not that type of player. And we just need a guy like that in our best 22.
Yeah. And what I liked also with Fogarty is how he was on the ball a little bit as well. Like he actually had a few attendances, and that's what he's been doing in the VFL. So use his attributes in the VFL of how important he's been in the VFL, but also to bring that in the AFL and seeing that as well. Like it's once again just another dimension that we can go, that if something isn't working, you can know that you can look at a Fog or a Cunners and you can rely on them to go into the middle and get some life in the side in a sense. So last question before we move on to onto Patrick Cripps's performance. Paddy Dow. So this is the big one where a lot of talk where Paddy Dow, when he wasn't in the best 22 last week, this week for, of course, when the selection came out, Paddy Dow wasn't in the best 22, and a lot of people were saying, me included, I couldn't believe that he wasn't in the best 22. But I have seen it a little bit differently, where that might be actually a tactic. That might actually be a reason for that, where if someone isn't performing at halftime, or if someone gets injured at halftime, or if there's just some sort of run needed for the side, Paddy Dow comes in the third or fourth quarter, you can rely on him to get their 7 or 8 touches, a few score involvements, maybe a goal. So maybe, because I personally don't think after today, I would have rathered a Fog and a Cunners come in before Dow. Yeah. And it's very weird that I'm saying that, because I'm like, the past few weeks have been really good, but he's been really good because he's been that sub. So I think he needs to be the sub in the next few weeks. And there's been people saying, I can't believe, what has Dow done to Voss? But you might not see it as that, because this might actually be a tactic. And if Dow is the sub for the rest of the year, I'm happy as a supporter. Because I generally know that what he is going to bring. And of course, Dow doesn't want to be in that position, but also it's a role. You are given a role. You are going out in the third or fourth quarter. It might be an injury 5 minutes into the first quarter and he's in. So it's not like a sub is a 100% lock for a third quarter, fourth quarter effort. But if it is, you know what he's going to produce. So I think Dow just has to. It's very tough on Dow, because you don't want to be the sub every single week. But also, I just have a feeling that he's going to stay. I have a feeling that he's going to stay at the Carlton Football Club next year. I don't know why. So what is your thoughts on the sub, I guess, with Paddy Dow being the sub the past few weeks? And do you reckon, obviously it was the right call to have him as a sub, but for the next few weeks, is that more of a tactic you think that Voss is using for the next few weeks?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because, we're both calling for him to come into the side, into the best 22, but I think you're actually right on the ball with I feel like when he's fresh legs, to be able to finish up the game with fresh legs, you know what I mean? Like in the last quarter, he looks, because does he have the ability to play all 4 quarters? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He might not.
I don't know.
That might be the reason.
Yeah.
So he comes in fresh and he's versing guys who are a little bit tired. And he comes in there and, he looked good again today. But realistically, I don't know. Who is he coming in for in the midfield?
No one.
He can't get in.
No.
He can't. And I'm telling you right now, George Hewitt's going to find it hard to get in.
Spot on.
Yeah. And that's not his fault at all.
No.
It's not his fault at all. Look, he's definitely, if he's in the side, I'm trusting George. But who is he coming in for?
No one.
Today, in midfield, who is he coming in for, really? No one.
No.
I think that dynamic where we have guys like Cunners and Fogg come in, he'd only come in, for me, with Hewitt, He'd only come in if there's a form drop with a Kennedy, or there's an injury with Kennedy, or maybe a Cripps. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, but seriously, he can't really play forward, George. He can kind of play behind the ball, but he's not quick, but he's good in and under, which we love. So it's going to be an interesting watch come Hawks game, because you go, geez, who's really going to come in? Because Teddy K played well again, and I don't think he'll be playing twos the rest of the year. And really, it's going to be hard for him to come in. And the fact that Ed Curnow has been playing the last month or so, how has he been getting a game in this midfield? If Dow can't get a game, or George Stewart can't get a game right now, like, Stewart's going to find it tough to get in. And and I thought our wingers were pretty good. How good's Cotters?
How good's Cotters?
Oh my god! I thought Akers struggled a little bit. He didn't dominate. But I think they're going to be. I think it'll be hard for. I'm going a bit of a tangent here, but I'm just looking through the lines. But I think it'll be tough for Cowan to get a spot. I think it'll be tough for Hollands to get a spot when he's back. I just don't think he's big enough currently at the level. No, not in terms of just size. I think he's good enough.
Yeah, of course.
I think he just needs to. Obviously, he's injured for the next 4 or 5 weeks, so he can't be picked anyway. But it's a good thing. It's a good problem to have, because you can develop these guys through the twos, and they're not put under pressure like Dow was in his first year. Pato, him and O'Brien played round 1, 2018, thrown to the wolves against the ex-premiers, the fucking premiers of the AFL. Like, what the hell are we doing? Seriously, that shows you where you're at. You're desperate. You have to play these guys because you've got no other option. And I think that's why Harry Mackay's development was really good. Like I touch on every single year when we talk about development. How many people come in? He's like, well, like, get him in. But they were patient. Finally, they were patient with these guys, and he earned his spot. And Paddy Dow's just got to keep working, because he'll get a starting best 22. I'll give it sometime the next month, I reckon. Geez, that midfield's going to be hard to break into. Geez, Cripps, Walsh, Chera, fuck.
Yeah, spot on. Especially with the wingers as well. I don't think Cotters has gotten enough credit today, because he was fantastic. But I don't think we've really touched on him, because we now expect that from him every single week.
Yes, we do.
So it's great. And I reckon he's an absolute lock in the best 22.
Yes, yeah.
And it's so funny, because if I look at my best, I mean, like, if we both look at our best 22 at the start of the year, and maybe towards the end of the year, and see how the season plays out, I reckon our best 22 is going to look very different to what it once was. Yes. Because me personally, as I mentioned earlier, and you obviously disagree now, and I think I agree with you as well about Durden, where right now he wouldn't be a lock. No way. No. But at the start of the season, you must admit he was a lock. He was.
Yeah.
So that's the difference where
it's good.
It's fantastic, because it's the
learning what is your best mix.
Yes.
Because like I said, with Fogg and Cunners, like, you can say Paddy Dow's probably putting more output in the twos, right? Compared to Fogg. But the mix, you know what I mean? Like George Stewart, he can come in, right? He's good enough. But the midfield mix has not been right for 13 weeks. We've had too slow in the midfield, right? You got Cripps, Stewart. We had Cripps, Stewart, Kennedy, and Ed Curnow. It's 2023, right? It's 2023, and we're playing a slow midfield like it's the 1980s.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, it's the way football is moving right now is pace. You know what I mean? Look at Collingwood. I reckon they have about 58 blokes who run through that midfield. Like, seriously, sometimes you got fucking Dacos coming in there, Josh, Nick. They'll just go, Bobby, he'll go in there for 5 minutes and see where you can, you know what I mean? Like, you see with those good teams, Melbourne do it. They just, like, their midfield mix is good, and I think it's important. I think that midfield mix today is ideal. Obviously, bar injuries, obviously you got to change it up. But like, if there's an injury to Chera or touch wood, but like, do you bring in a Hewitt, or you probably bring in a Dow because he plays that role?
I agree.
You know what I mean? You can't just go, next best. You can't just go next best. That's just not how it works in football.
And that's what I've seen this year, where it's not necessarily the next player in. It's it's more to do with the player who is best for that role. Not the player that comes. And this week we took a risk where Lewis Young was dropped, and Brody Kemp was that second defender. And my word, it paid off. So that's one of the risks where we were willing to take it, and we should have taken it last week with Peter Wright. Put Wieders on right, put Kemp on Wiedemann. Have a chance for Kemp to do the game that he had today.
Yes.
Let him have the opportunity where he can go out there and play the best game of his career. Let him have that opportunity. And so to touch on a few players that are kind of on the almost seniors and they're not, like they are kind of around the VFL. Hewitt, Zach Fisher I reckon he is not looking good at all for there. And we touched on a few players through the week, actually privately to touch on like who we think might be re-signed and who might be traded towards the end of the year. A lot of those players we are going to make a lot of changes because they are not up to AFL standard in the Carlton system.
Yeah,
in another system, they might.
Who cares? We don't give a fuck, whatever.
Yeah, we don't care. We don't care. And that's the thing where and as you mentioned last episode, I think it was that we could see a VFL player who isn't even on an AFL fucking list. And it might have a better role or a more...
Chincotta.
Yeah, Chincotta. Chincotta is a perfect example of that. But also, every club has it. And even like a John Noble, and like every club has it. There's so many clubs that have it, and it's just unbelievable to why more clubs don't do it, why they don't branch out more. Because VFL players, they're pretty fucking good players. It's not like it's a local league Div 10 resi. Like it's a pretty solid league, and you're playing with AFL players. So of course, if they aren't drafted when they're 18 and they're 23, 24. They've been around the AFL players anyway, so they've improved anyway. Yeah. So it's good that we finally are not looking towards the end of the season trade period. We've kind of been pulled back to life a little bit and actually thinking about in the moment
until the Hawks knock us off.
until the Hawks beat us by 25 points. We kick six goals 14, and Mitch Lewis kicks 4 on Lewis Young. He comes in. So
Ed Kerno through the middle.
Oh, Eddie Kerno. And then who knows? We might see the big WQE maybe as well. So so we will touch on our last segment before we touch on the best on ground as well later on. But of course, has to be said, probably not his usual Cripper impact, but the stats don't lie once again, and the title is Captain Courageous. And 27 touches, 3 goals, 4 tackles. I sent you a video about halfway through that second quarter when we played like shit. And I was furious. I'm like, why is this man wearing an ankle brace? I'll put it up here. Why is he wearing an ankle brace?
Yeah.
But he proved me wrong. The coaching staff proved me wrong. The club proved me wrong. Because...
What's the smell of this to you, Pato? Vossy's like, Pato, up your ass, mate.
He was watching. He was watching Baggers Chat through the week, and me like this Mitch Patterson guy. He's speaking a little bit too much. I reckon we might need to give him a bit of a kick up the bum. So I reckon. Well, like Paddy Cripps, credit to him because we cried out last week. Lack of leadership. Where has it been? Wieders, Walsh, Cripps. My opinion, the best 3 best on grounds in my they were their top 3 best on ground, in my opinion. They were fantastic, so important, impact, everything, just leadership. That is leadership. That's what we've been crying out for. That is leadership. The second quarter, you are not playing the best football ever. Who steps up? Cripps, Walsh, Wieders, Harry down forward, Brody Kemp down back, who's a young leader. But seriously, you've got guys that you need some lift in the club. You rely on your leaders every single week. Adam Cherry is another one who's not even in the leadership context, I guess, but he probably might be a future captain. Seriously, with the way he plays and when he kicks a goal, he kicks those goals. He lines up. He kicks those goals.
I say last week, Pato.
Yeah.
The moment comes, he kicks the fucking goal.
The goals. He
Yeah,
keeps
and once again, it'll be tested if we want to make this run. These leaders have to make big plays in big moments.
Yeah.
We've got Collingwood, we've got Melbourne.
Yeah.
If we're going to beat if we want to beat these teams, it's a close game. These little moments, they cost us this year. Those moments, back end of the year, they did. Those close games cost us. There was moments in the game where Charlie Curnow misses or whatever. It sets the tone for the team. People go, you don't just rely on one player, but it's not relying. It's more just like, when he's up and going, we're going.
Yeah.
We're up and going. He doesn't have to be 48 touches.
Yeah.
Like today, Cripps where he's on the ground and you think, oh, fuck, he's tackled. And the ball pops out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That stuff. But what the hell?
Yeah.
It's good to see. And with those guys, it's just a relief. Because Weeders, to be honest, he's been through absolute shit this year with the whole money thing. Hundreds and thousands of dollars he's lost here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that happened to you tomorrow. Imagine you had all that money and down the drain, and you go, and then you have to go out there and play an elite sport.
Yeah,
it's pretty hard, and it's to see he's back in form because, we're getting angry at him, but I did feel sorry in a way for Weeders.
Yeah, completely on it, and that's why I don't think we've actually given this enough light, just because it's a very private issue, and we never want to touch on it because we don't know what he's going through.
Exactly.
So. And then when he actually came out, I think it was an ad. I think it was actually
NAB.
It was NAB that produced an ad, and it was saying to do. I mean, obviously it was to do with the situation, but Weeders actually coming out and speaking about it, and I reckon that has been really great for him to actually come out and actually have the opportunity to kind of speak about his loss, and actually might take a little bit of weight off his shoulders. And that's what we've seen. Like, his mentality the past few weeks been a lot more clear, it seems. And it's really good to see. So one more question before we move on to best on ground. You mentioned there about you need those players who need to lift. And when they do lift, the whole club lifts. If you were to put one finger on a name that is that player, when he lifts, the whole club lifts with him, who do you think that would be?
Apart from Cripps, the obvious answer, but I think, like you were saying before, I think Weeders.
Yeah.
Because when the opposition has a little bit of momentum and your key back is taking marks and going off, giving hands and rebounding straight out, how good was that today? Yeah. It's like you don't feel fear when the ball goes inside 50.
Yeah.
Like, I think, to be honest, I think our defense has actually been okay this season. I think they've actually been okay. So they struggled a little bit last week, getting, right off the leash a bit. It was a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's just been our, connection going forward. And Weeders for mine, just set the tone.
Yeah. I think as a whole, though, I think the defensive, with how our forwards and midfields have been, as a whole, the defenders have been, in my opinion, been very underrated, because they are trying to hold scores of 50 that we're scoring to the opposition that are absolutely dominating the game, and they're bombing it in every single bloody contest. That's pretty hard for them to actually to deal with. And also, so that's why I kind of asked the question, because when you said, obviously, you think the obvious answer is Cripps, I think Weeders is probably the one guy that comes to mind. I mean, of course, Cripps is up there, but I think Weeders is almost a little bit more like when he is on, if there is a guy kicking it into their forward line and Weeders is down there in the back line, you're trusting him. That helps the players as well, because if there's a one out and there's a really like a contest and like the supporters are like shit, like it's coming into our defensive 50, it's okay. Jacob Weitering's down there.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So that's why I think when he's up and running, and we've seen it the past few weeks, the defense, and we've been better the past few weeks. That's the thing. We haven't been, we have given enough credit. We have actually, and it just seems now it's come together. It's come together. And hopefully we can, I'll say it every week, but hopefully we can use this to charge towards the finals, Daffy Boy. So last segment before we wrap up the episode, Daffy Boy, best on ground. There are more than one or two players out there that could be best on ground. But if you were to put one name into the best on ground votes, Who do you think?
There's been barely any names the last few weeks. There's been one guy who has been that guy, and was that guy again, which is showing how good of a year he's having. In Adam Chera, mate, he is class with a capital C, mate. He is class with a capital C, because seriously, he's what is he, 24, and we knew what we're getting from the Dockers. When we traded for him, he's a ready-made star. What was he, 23 when he came over? He's still young. Geez, we have him and Walshy in the midfield for fucking 10 more years. Seriously, if we're not holding up a cup by, what year is it now? 2023. If we're not holding up a cup by 2030, there must be something going wrong, Pato, because I know it's hard to get there. It's fucking hard. It is that hard to get up to that. People think it's, oh yeah, we'll just win a flag.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Melbourne took 158 years to win fucking one. So, Ches was fantastic. 2 goals as well. And midfield was kicking goals.
Yeah.
That's why we're winning games, but that's why we won today.
Where's
Because they going forward. Like Cripps kicked 3, and he's only kicked 1 for the season before that. And Chera, I think Chera's just been superb all year. 14 kicks, 13 handballs, good ratio there. And meters gained 460, which is very, very solid. By the way, Bailey Smith had negative 22 meters gained today. He had a bit of it too. I just read it before during the break, and I was like, what? Are you serious? But yeah, Ches 459, 6 tackles as well to go with it.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I've actually just checked those stats. So Bailey Smith finished with 19 touches, and that is unbelievable to actually think about. If he's had minus whatever it was, meters gained, unbelievable. So, last week in my predictions, I predicted Jacob Wiedering to be the best player. And now I don't really know if I want to put it to Wieders, but
yeah,
just I don't know. In terms of the reason why we won today, like, I don't know. I just don't know what it was. And I just think Wieders is the one guy, because he kept Ben King a very, not very, very much experienced, but a very talented key forward to 1 goal 2. And he did not have a lot of the football at all. So he didn't have a lot of opportunities to keep the goals as well. And that is down to Wiedering. So I just think, I probably won't say Wiedering just because I don't really want. I think there was definitely other better players on the ground, and I think the one player that probably comes to mind is the skipper, Patrick Cripps. I think he's best on the ground. I reckon in terms of Brownlow votes, I reckon he'll get the 3. I don't know because he kicked 3, but he had 27. And say Chera Chera kicked 2 and had 27 as well, but I would almost say that Chera was a little bit better. So I don't know. It's so great to see. Also, Sam Doxey have a great game. He played a little bit more backline and
he did
running and carry and getting the handballs off from the defender. Yeah, which is fantastic, and just getting a lot more of the football. So Sam Doxey played great. Tandy as well that we've mentioned as well. Newman also is a great inclusion to the backline as well. So, I was so pleased, really, really pleased. But of course, that is the last segment of the episode. But what else can you say? I think it's something. It's a win that's been coming. I think it's a win that we needed. I think we needed to go into the bye with a little bit of positivity. We didn't really want to go to the bye off a 25, 26 point loss to Gold Coast at the MCG when we've never played them at the MCG. It's just great. And who knows? We don't know what the rest of the season holds. We don't know. We are just keeping very much a lid on it, but we are just hoping that something can happen. Miracles can happen. That's the thing. But it's not even a miracle.
No, it's not.
Stranger things have happened. So I'm just hoping that if this brand is good enough and if it can hold it together, if they can hold this brand of football together and really get some wins on the board and really challenge that top 8, even if we don't make the 8, challenge it. Don't drop your heads.
No.
Supporters, get around them. Hawthorn
Go down fighting.
Yeah. Hawthorn and Carlton in a couple of weeks' time. Go to that game. Show your support to the players. Sorry, Duff, were you about to say something?
Yeah, no, I think with that game, I actually think there'll be a few people there, to be fair. I think it will be Tends to be a few people when we play Hawthorn for some reason. It's always a good crowd. Doesn't matter what time. But no, get down there because they fucking need us. I hate to say it, but we owe this team our support always, and I'll stand by that till the day I die.
Yep.
And whether we're up or down, we've got to be there. And like we said today, Pato, the other week we're going, fuck, are we really going to this game? But you can't have moments like today. Seriously, I was there with my brother, and there's nothing better being with, my family member that, we've been going to games for ages, and we've, had moments together over the years. Just seeing a smile on his face. You know what I mean? It's just good to see. So, no, it's good, mate.
Yeah, that's good. Well said, Daff. So yeah, of course, we are so happy that the club have finally given us supporters back something that we've invested so much into this club this year, and we show our love every single week. We try and go to as many games as possible. If we have nothing on, we are doing everything we can. We are trying to move everything around to make sure that game, for the 3.5 hours that we need to try and have in that bracket, we are there. And there's not a lot of supporters out there, I believe, from other clubs that would show the type of love that Carlton supporters do. And we don't know, but I just have a feeling that just Carlton supporters is just another breed. And when we get to that time in our lives when Carlton is up and about, hopefully, towards a premiership, that would be just unbelievable. And hopefully the supporters can really just know that moment is coming. It is coming. It will take a while. As you said, it's not easy to win.
Not easy.
The premiership is not easy to win, but it will eventually happen. Hopefully. I can't tell anything. Who knows? We might make the finals. We might make the prelim, and then we'll be back to the bottom of the ladder the next few weeks. The next few years, definitely. But as I said, to all the viewers and listeners out there, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to also leave a comment as well if you have any thoughts on the game. We want to hear from everyone, making sure that our opinions are also out there, but also making sure that we're listening to your opinions as well. We very much appreciate the opinions, and we know that we always read them, and we try to comment and reply back to every single to every single comment we get. But Daffy boy, it's an absolute pleasure every single episode doing a podcast with you, mate. And of course, to all the blue baggers out there, enjoy the win. Have a CC if you can. And as always, to Daffy boy and all the blue baggers out there, up the baggers. Woo!